Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here today as we explore some alarming news that has rocked the financial world recently, like yesterday. This is a moment, Friday, This is a moment when we pause and reflect on America's crossed a significant threshold, or Rubicon, one that will change the course of our financial future. The news we've all been waiting for. Moody's, one of the world's leading credit rating agencies, has made a historic decision. It has downgraded the United States credit rating from AAA to AA1. Let that sink in for a moment. For the first time in history, the U.S. government no longer holds the coveted AAA rating of any bond rating agency. S&P 500 let theirs go in 2011. Fitch let theirs go in 2023. And now Moody's let theirs go finally in 2025. The dollar is backed up by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. I think that ship sailed. What do you think? This is more than just a change in rating. It's a flashing red siren signaling a looming debt crisis that could have profound consequences for the U.S. economy and the world. But let's take a deeper look at what this really means. For those of you who know your history, you might recall the moment in Roman history when Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, declaring the die is cast. That phrase marked a point of no return, a turning point in history when decisions became irreversible. Well, America has now crossed its own Rubicon in terms of fiscal responsibility. The downgrade from Moody's doesn't just reflect the current state of government debt. It sends a clear signal about the unsustainable path the U.S. is on. With national debt surpassing $36 trillion, that's admitted, and projections showing it will continue to grow, this downgrade is a result of years of neglected fiscal responsibility. It's not just about the debt itself. It's about the inability of policymakers to come together to address the issue. Do you think they run their own personal finances this way? Moody cited political gridlock and rising debt levels as key reasons for the downgrade. The reality is the U.S. is living beyond its means, borrowing heavily just to keep the wheels of government turning. The result? Growing uncertainty about how long this can continue without a major collapse. Now, the big question is the U.S. about to default on its debt? I say absolutely. They're going to default in terms of purchasing power. Nominally, maybe not. That's a scary thought, though, and one that may have long considered to be unthinkable. But with this downgrade, the idea no longer seems so far-fetched. A default by the U.S. government would have catastrophic implications. We're talking about an event that could shake the global financial system to its core. In reality, the U.S. will default in terms of purchasing power. That, Ted Heads, is a certainty you will not hear anywhere else. That comment represents Austrian monetary economics, Amy. Think about the global implications for a second. The U.S. dollar is the world's reserve currency, the bedrock of global trade, and the foundation of many financial assets. If the U.S. were to default, and really what we're talking about is return to the purchasing power. We don't have it to return. It's all been spent and gone. If it were unwilling to meet its debt obligations, the value of the dollar would plummet, which it will. It already has 97% so far. It'll finish the rest. The trust in U.S. debt as a safe haven investment will vanish in an instant. I think it already has for you guys and us too. If this were to happen, it would likely trigger a currency crisis. We could see inflation spike, interest rates soar, and the purchasing power of the dollar erode quickly. It would be a financial nightmare for the American people who would see their savings, retirement funds, and standard of living wiped out. That's why we came out of retirement last year in March, to let you know what was going on. We're certain of this. We know what's going on. It's not a monetized channel. And this is all information just for you guys. It's from our gift to you. In a currency crisis, when the value of currency collapses, inflation spirals out of control, confidence in the government evaporates, and what happens next? People start looking for something that holds real intrinsic value, a hedge against the destruction of paper money. Enter silver. Silver has been a store of value for thousands of years. When fiat currencies lose their value, people turn to precious metals like gold and silver. And in today's economic environment, silver is uniquely positioned to play a major role as a financial safeguard. The U.S. dollar and most global currencies are based on nothing more than the belief that they have and hold value. When that belief starts to wane, as it has, people will turn to hard assets, assets that are tangible and, unlike currencies, cannot be printed at will. Silver has always been a reliable store of wealth in times of uncertainty. In fact, it's often referred to as the poor man's gold. Have you heard that before? Now let's bring all this back to silver. With the U.S. now on the precipice of a currency crisis and fiscal insolvency, the value of silver will likely see upward pressure. Why? Because as the value of the dollar falters, more people will flock to silver as a safe haven, driving up demand. They want to preserve their purchasing power. That's what you and I wanted to do, and we did it over 10 years ago. Most of us have. We already seen this trend again and begin. As global financial instability increases, silver prices will rise. The fundamentals are clear. Silver is in the demand, and its price is being artificially suppressed by manipulation in the markets. The more the U.S. government and central banks manipulate the price of silver, the greater the potential for a breakout. More and more people wake up to the reality of the crisis. And that's when you're going to see silver disappear, prices go through the roof, and that's when you're going to sit back in that lazy chair with your feet propped up, have a cold glass of something warm and wet, or whatever turns you float your boat. But the manipulation can't last forever. The increasing economic uncertainty, coupled with historic downgrade of America's credit rating, will only accelerate the shift towards real, tangible assets like silver. And once the dam breaks, the price of silver will see a significant surge. Remember what I told you. You can fool some of the people. You can fool all the people some of the time, some of the people all the time, but you can never fool all the people all the time. And we've wakened up and we are blowing the whistle. We may have freedom of speech. We certainly don't have freedom of reach. That's going to be up to you guys to get the word out. Trump's goal, behead the Fed. Dismantle the central banking scam that's enslaved us since 1913. That's the Bank for International Settlements going down. Just like I told you it was going to. Just like Rob Cunningham has said for years. We're bringing back constitutional money, backed by value, not counterfeit IOUs. Kash Patel is sounding the alarm on the Federal Reserve. He's urging everyone to wake up and realize the Fed is not a public institution. It's a private entity, folks, run by the elite robber barons who built this. They're rigging the currency game for their own gain.
So I think we got to educate people that the Federal Reserve is not a public government entity. It's a private entity owned by the robber barons that started this country, who manipulate the currency to their advantage. And that needs to be tackled. Again, I'm not the economic guru. I just know it's a problem. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the solution is, but it needs to be addressed.
Hi, Vivek Ramaswamy. This is Lloyd Brunson. And I just want to mention that Tucker Carlson, before he was fired, said $1 trillion out of thin air created by the Federal Reserve. Why are we being taxed for it? Reminds me of Ron Paul. He was saying 1.6 trillion of the federal debt is fictitious money created out of thin air. Well, it's real money. Why should we have to pay it back? And on Fox News, an analyst, I think her name was Lori Rothman, asked Ron Paul about that. And she says, oh, Ron, you know it's not fictitious. You know that's owned by the financial markets, which proved his point. And so I would like to just offer my assistance in reminding America, reminding everyone that when $1 trillion is created out of thin air by the Federal Reserve System, that they are a non-profit entity. And if they don't return that to the Treasury, if they bill us for it, they're embezzling. If they return it to the Treasury as profit, on budget profit for the Treasury, then that's what they're supposed to be doing. So we could say that the Federal Reserve System, the trillions and trillions that they've been creating, including $9 trillion that they created and distributed to foreign entities that they refused to expose or tell Congress where it went, that's just flat out embezzlement. Now, you're working with Elon, and if you and Elon could talk about this and get to the bottom of this, this would mean many, many trillions of dollars, not just 2 trillion, but this would be many trillions of dollars and could actually result in a huge tax refund for taxpayers in the United States. So my message to all of you out there and to you, Vivek and Elon, let's become more aware of the Federal Reserve and what it's doing. And you can go to LloydBrunson.com. There's a letter you can send to Congress and read about that. And so my message is just let's understand that $1 trillion out of thin air is not supposed to be tax debt. It's profit for the Treasury. And that's how incredible the Constitution is, giving the Congress the purse strings power. Thank you for listening.
Today, they're taking almost half of every dollar earned in the United States. And most people don't realize it because the taxes are hidden in the so-called business taxes. You know, the politician that stands up and yells, oh, let's save the little man, let's tax business, and everybody yells hooray. But they haven't figured out that every tax on business is just a part of the cost of production. And the customer winds up paying it when he buys the product. It's a hidden sales tax. There's 116 of them in the suit of clothes that each one of us is wearing.
We're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share.
My friends, a high-stakes game is being played out before our eyes. This morning, President Donald J. Trump posted a photo from the Oval Office. He and Barack Obama sitting side by side. Above them, all roads lead to Obama. Below, read truth if you want public military tribunals. This isn't a meme. This isn't trolling. It's a signal. To understand it, we need to go back. First to the 8647 post from James Comey. A cryptic message, a number, 8647, mob code for eliminate Trump, but also exactly 8,647 days after 9/11. Was that a message or a threat to the president and to us, the country? Is he saying, we did it once, we can do it again? Then Trump responds, not with panic, but with purpose. At 8:37 a.m. yesterday, the president posted a chilling video. The video Hillary Clinton does not want you to see. A documentary-style expose. Names, faces, bodies, a long trail of death, silence and suspicion. And now this. This isn't politics as usual. This is Game of Thrones, played out in real life. And the throne at stake? Global power. Trump is separating from Netanyahu. He's cutting the strings, forging peace with Arab states, without the war machine's blessing. Because Trump stands for something the globalists fear. Peace without their permission. Watch closely, because this isn't just a political battle. It's the final chapter of an empire built on lies, and the first spark of a new world rising. My friends, we are all anonymous, and the game only ends when the truth is no longer feared.
2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi intelligence service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country. In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual whose name I don't like to say, who became president in 2008 of the United States.
And I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
One of his code names was Renegade. His real name was Barry Sortoro, but he adopted a different name for his political career. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time. One of the things he did, of course, was he defunded our military. He brought down the resources that they got. But then he ordered our military in many, many instances and in various theaters to attack our allies and to defend and supply and help our enemies. That's exactly how he created ISIS. He would say publicly that the military were going to bomb our enemies, but then he would have the military actually bomb enemies of ISIS, our allies. He gave ISIS funding and equipment by basically ordering our military to take equipment into a certain theater and then abandon it. And the commanders would say, that's ridiculous. We'd just be handing that stuff over to ISIS. And the president's office would say, don't question orders, just follow your orders. And that
Well, Jean-Paul Ludwig, or Barack Hussein Obama. An intensive investigation has revealed the identity of a man whose social security number being used by Barack Obama. John Paul Ludwig, who was born in France in 1890, immigrated to the United States in 1924, and was assigned social security number 04268 4425, Obama's current Social Security number. On or about March of 1977, Mr. Ludwig lived most of his adult life in Connecticut. Because of that, his Social Security number begins with the digit 042, which are among the only select few reserved for Connecticut residents.